Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you live from Hungary here in the center of Europe. I hope everybody had a productive and healthy week and is looking forward to a restful weekend. Hi Tito, nice to see you in this class. Glad you're doing okay. Hi Preeti, hi Kadir. Nice to see many students joining in. While we wait for your peers, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS help. Definitely visit us there. Join our premium package. We will use that website today for the listening section. And for the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. On both of these websites, we have loads of materials for you. This is the academic website here with the blue background. Click that big red button to join the premium package. This is the general with the green background. You can click that big red button to get access to all of our fantastic materials. Students, you can download and link our apps. Academic IELTS Help. You can link that one to your aehelp.com account for a truly comprehensive learning experience, and the general IELTS Help app to the IELTS Help website. If you have questions, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. And if you want to order our books in electronic or paperback formats, you can do so from Amazon. Search for AEHelp's Academic IELTS and GEHelp's General IELTS for those practice exam books. So, students, we will continue with listening parts 3 and 4 today, some practice and strategy in just a moment. And then tomorrow we will have a speaking part 1 for members, and we will have a reading section for everyone. That will be tomorrow's Saturday's class. So right now, let's get right into our listening section 3. So here we have our questions, and I'm just going to hop over to the website here. Up at the top, I'm going to log into my student account, and once I'm logged in there, I can open up my audio CDs. This will be CD4 track 3, which I will play in just a moment. Students, for the audio, I'm using my microphone here and a Bose speaker, they're both quite good. But to get the best sound, I definitely recommend using a headset and maybe turn up your speakers or your volume, okay? So here we go, students. Now, importantly, please, students, do not write your answers. So please do not write your answers in the chat. Let everybody answer for themselves. Just write it into a separate document or piece of paper, and then we'll go through them at the end together, okay? So again, be nice to your fellow students and write into a separate document or on a separate piece of paper. Here we go, students, with listening section 3.
Now turn to section 3. Take some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Listening section 3. You will hear a panel discussion on the ethics of zoos. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Welcome everyone to this very special evening. Tonight's speakers are two distinguished scholars. Dr. Henry Gergen from the University of Edinburgh is a philosopher and animal rights advocate. Dr. Gloria Mesto from Trinity College Dublin is an animal conservationist. Welcome to you both. The topic of tonight's discussion is the ethics of zoos. Here is the fundamental question. Is it right to house animals in zoos, or should they live freely in nature instead?
As an animal rights advocate and theorist, I have clear views on this question. To me, it is fundamentally wrong to lock up animals for human enjoyment. I believe that in many important respects, animals are persons and should be afforded many of the rights that human beings have. Chief among these is the right to liberty and the freedom to achieve one's desired ends in life. Clearly, these rights are abrogated by imprisonment within the zoo. Moreover, in many cases, animals in zoos are treated inhumanely and are subject to confinement in extremely small spaces. While regulation of zoos may help mitigate some of these problems, I maintain that zoos are fundamentally unethical.
I certainly understand Dr. Gergen's position, and I do agree on some of his points, most notably that zoos must be held to higher standards of animal treatment than they are currently. But my colleague fails to consider an important point in favor of zoos. The conservation of species is an incredibly important endeavor, and zoos are on the front line in the battle to save hundreds of species of animals around the world. Zoos often employ some of the leading experts in the field who are best equipped to carry out this important task. It is for this reason that I believe zoos are justified. Though they may not be perfect, I believe zoos and the experts they employ play a critical role in the conservation of species and therefore are ethically permissible.
Dr. Gergen, do you have a rebuttal to that point?
Yes, certainly. While I appreciated Dr. Mester's position as a conservationist, and I do appreciate the work she and others like her do for animal welfare around the world, I must disagree with her. While zoos certainly do play a role in animal conservation, it is not because they are zoos that they play this role.
Dr. Gergen, can you clarify that point for the audience?
Of course. What I mean is this. It is not inherent in the idea of a zoo that they conserve animals. The notions are separable. You can have an animal conservation effort that is not a zoo, just as you can have a zoo that has nothing to do with conservation. So while it is true that some zoos act as animal preserves, this does not justify the existence of zoos, since we could easily separate out these animal preserves from zoos themselves.
Fair point, but such animal preserves would still have the associated problems of poor treatment and unsuitable living conditions.
Yes, but at least it would be in an effort towards a positive end. The animals would not be captive forever, and they would not be captive merely for a human audience.
You now have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 27 to 30.
What about the enjoyment and education that zoos provide, especially to young people? Perhaps individuals like yourselves were inspired to become animal advocates by attending a zoo when you were a child.
That is a really interesting point. I was indeed inspired by going to a zoo when I was a child. What do you think, Dr. Gergen?
It is an interesting thought. What if the positive outcomes caused by inspiring people like us to do good in the future outweighed the harms done to zoo animals? I'm not sure. I would have to think about it more, but it's certainly an interesting question.
Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. In closing, I'm not sure how much progress we've made, but is it safe to say that we can all agree that zoos, at the very least, must do their best to improve the treatment of animals and the conditions in which the animals live?
I would certainly agree with that, as I'm sure my friends would also agree.
That is the end of section 3. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, students, and make sure to check your answers in that half minute. Just going to stop the audio for us, and we'll go back and look at the answers and talk a bit of strategy. Here we go. All right, students. So section 3 started with a couple of easy ones here, matching the professor with their university. And this is for question 21. Sometimes this kind of matching question can be a bit confusing because it says 1 and 2 here. But in your answer key, you would be looking for the space 21. And then you would go 1 dot something and then 2 dot something to pick up this point. This is only worth 1 point. So Hemant Sharma says 1 is A and 2 is B. And you're correct, Hemant. That's good. Just brightening up our day a little bit here. So yeah, absolutely. 1 is A, 2 is B. So in block 21 of your answer sheet, you would put 1A, 2B like that, and you will get it correct. Okay, so 1A, 2B. Very good. Fantastic. All right, let's keep going here with questions 22 to 24. Now this one's worth 3 marks, and it's similar to one of the questions that we dealt with in yesterday's class, this multiple choice question. So here you had to choose 3 of these from 6, and it's the arguments given against zoos by Dr. Gergen, I believe. So here in your answer sheet, you have 22, 23, and 24. The order doesn't matter. You can write them in any order as long as they're correct. So Preeti Sharma says it's ADF. Derek says it's BDA. Hemant says it's AFD. Violet Nguyen says DAB. And the correct answers are A, B, F. Okay, those are the correct answers, A, B, F. So against zoos, A, animals are treated inhumanely. So they're not treated very nicely. Inhumane treatment means bad treatment, so not nicely, okay? And then animals are persons. That's how the speaker starts. He says, animals are persons. They shouldn't be kept in zoos. Okay. And then the last one, of course, was F. Zoos are fundamentally wrong. So it's basically wrong to take an animal, trap it, and put it into a box. We wouldn't like it. We don't like it. That's why we make jails for people who do bad deeds. So why would animals like it? Again, remember, logic helps for this type of question. Okay? And writing down what you hear. In your question booklet, okay, that helps. So logic, writing down what you hear, and spend more time on review with this one. Now, I'm not writing this into the notes because this is just review from yesterday. And here, Hemant is asking, animals should not be in prison. That was a bit of a trap. Yeah, you didn't hear the word prison, right? So you didn't hear the person say the word prison or cages, so you can't choose that answer, okay? So again, use your logic, write down what you hear. If you wrote down what you heard, you should have written down animals are persons because that's how the professor starts, okay? All right, and again, when you see this kind of question, spend more time reviewing it. Okay. C is not possible because that's not a bad part of zoos, conservation of species. And animals are human beings and should be treated equally. That's weird. They're not human beings. they're persons. Persons means they're individuals. They have feelings, emotions, they feel pain. Okay? So E and B are very different. All right, let's keep going. 25 to 27, write no more than 2 words and or a number for each one. This is short answer or fill in the blanks. In order to improve the condition of zoo animals, zoos must be held to something of animal treatment. Now, this was very clear. The woman professor said this very, very clearly, and she emphasized it. So if you missed it, again, remember, check the transcripts. That means the script at the back of the book. Okay? So, should be held to. Now, this is section 3, so it's more challenging. Did anybody get it? Okay. Abdullah says welfare. Preeti says welfare, but it's not welfare. Welfare is one word. Abdullah has the right spelling. Abhishek says welfare. No, it's not welfare. Held to, let's see how many got it. It's higher standards. Okay, that was the correct answer. Higher standards. All right, I'll keep that up there for you to think about. Again, if you're not sure, check the transcript. So let me show you where you should have heard this in the audio. So in our book, the transcripts are found for this one on page 115. And if I look at the back of the book, again, this is all coming from aehelp.com. Okay. So here you see the answers for 22 to 24. And then here, I certainly understand Dr. Gergen's position, and I do agree on some of his points, most notably that zoos must be held to higher standards of animal treatment. There's your number 25, okay? So transcripts. Again, I wrote this note yesterday, but I'm going to write a reminder for you because this is very important for your studies. Okay, so this is a tip and it's a reminder tip. So tip and a reminder. While studying at home, always check your incorrect answers in the listening section in the transcripts. Okay, the script at the back of the book. This is why it's good to spend a few dollars, students, and get good study materials so that you have these kinds of resources like the transcripts so you can figure out where and why you're making the mistake. Okay? Especially for part 3 and part 4. Okay, so that's the transcripts at the back of the book. Use them. They are your friends. Okay, 12, back to the section here. And let's keep going with the next question. So number 26. While zoos do conserve animal life, Dr. Gergen argues that this function could also be performed by animal something. Now here, this word was repeated 3 or 4 times by both speakers. When you hear a word being repeated again and again, you should realize that it's probably the answer to one of the questions. Okay? Yeah, very good, Hamant. It's preserves. Lindo says, yeah, it's preserves. Animal preserve or animal preserves. Okay, performed by animal preserves is a better answer with plural. Preserves. All right. Animal preserves are basically, they're not zoos. They're large areas of land where animals can live freely and they're protected by humans, by fences, by armed guards. In Africa, there are big animal preserves to protect elephants and other animals. Much of the Serengeti is protected in this way. Okay, so that's an animal preserve. All right. Let's keep going. So you had a little bit of a break there, and then you had to answer question 27, which was still a part of this question set. 27, enjoyment and something are two key positive attributes of zoos. Enjoyment and, now even if you miss this, again, logic, visualization, you might be able to guess answer 27. Hemant says preserves are like national parks. Yeah, absolutely. Like tiger reserves in India. Exactly, Hemant. Exactly. Maftuna Faizuleyova says this one is education. And you are correct, Maftuna. It is education. Okay? Education. Of course, double check your spelling, especially when you're transferring from the question booklet to the answer booklet. Check your spelling, make sure it's correct. So it's education. Enjoyment and education are two key positive attributes of zoos. Sure, think about it. When you go to the zoo, you have fun looking at the animals, eating some ice cream, and of course, you read about the animals and you learn about the animals through audio, through plaques, and so on. You're very welcome, Maftuna. Good job. All right. So now we get to 28, 29, and 30. These are multiple choice questions. Here we go, multiple choice questions. I'm going to give you a couple quick strategies. I know a lot of students have difficulty with these. Okay, so multiple choice question strategy for listening. Okay, I'm going to start with a don't. It's kind of a weird way to start it, but I'm going to start with a don't, okay? So don't expect that the answer will jump out at you from the choices, because it probably won't. Okay, instead. So what do I mean by this? So one of the big mistakes that many students make with multiple choice in the listening is they're staring. They've got their eyeballs. They've got their eyeballs focused on these choices. They're looking at A, B, and C so much that the paper almost lights on fire and it's burning. You're focusing so much on your choices. That's what a lot of students do. It's not a good idea, okay? Because they think that suddenly they're going to hear some information and boom, it's going to jump out and hee woohoo, and the light bulb goes off and you are now clear on the answer. No, that's not really how it works. Dennis, RC, thanks for becoming a member. Cool. All right, so don't do that. Okay. For most multiple choice questions, that won't happen. Okay. So it's not a good strategy to get many of these correct. All right. So what should you do? Violet likes the picture. Violet, I'm glad you enjoyed that. All right, so instead, what should you do? Number 2 here is spend a bit more time reviewing this type of question, especially the question. Focus on making it into a statement that you would likely hear. And listen to catch the answer. then match what you hear to the correct choice, which is often paraphrased, especially in parts 3 and 4. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean here. Don't panic if you're like, whoa, what is he talking about? So here it says, according to Dr. Gergen, does the value of inspiring young people outweigh the negative aspects of zoos? So this is a question format. You can see this question, okay? So when you're reviewing this in the review time, as soon as you see that, oh, I've got some multiple choice questions here, then immediately when you read this, you want to change that into a statement. So I think that the value of zoos or inspiring young people does not outweigh. Okay, so when I read this question, in my mind, the answers are yes, no, or he's not sure. So in my mind, I change this into 3 possible statements that Dr. Gergen is going to say. He's going to say, well, I'm not sure if the inspiration outweighs the negatives of zoos, or he will say something like, yes, definitely, inspiring students or people outweighs the negatives, or no, I completely disagree with this. There's no way that the inspiring people outweighs the negatives. So I change this into what I will possibly hear. It's very difficult to and confusing to try to figure this out in the question format instead of the statement format. Does that make sense? Is everybody kind of picking up what I'm putting down? So in this one, you were a little bit lucky because he actually says, I'm not sure. So verbatim, word for word, he says the answer. So hopefully all of you got this correct. It was a little bit of an easy multiple choice. It was C. But let's take a look at the next 2 and then see how you did there. Okay? So here, again, it's a question. What is the interesting question? So change this to a statement. And it can be simple, like, that's an interesting question. And in fact, Dr. Gergen says exactly this. Says, that's an interesting question. So what was the interesting question? Zoos are ethical, the inspiration value of zoos outweigh the negatives, or enjoyment and inspiration negate the importance of zoos. And Bunyad, Abhishek, and Violet all agree that that's B. Okay? So you're right, the correct answer here is B. Okay, so again, change it to a statement. So what do the guests agree on? Well, here again, I would change it to I agree with Dr. Gergen or the other person that, or my thoughts are the same. I believe the same idea. I hold the same position. So there are different ways to paraphrase this, but again, change it from a question to a statement. So in your mind, have this so that it's easier, okay? Zoo conditions need to be improved. Zoos are unethical. The inspiration value of zoos is unethical. Number 30, is it A, B, or C? Okay. The correct answer here is A. It's the easiest one. Again, think and use logic. Zoo conditions need to be improved. Yeah, why not? Zoo conditions can always be made better. and better, right? So the correct answer here is A. That's what they agree on. Again, if you missed it, if you're not sure, check the transcripts. Look at the back of the book. Look for the sentence where you missed it. And then what I recommend is listen again. So we're going to do part 4 in this lesson. But if I were studying at home right now, what I would do is I would check the transcripts for every one that I got wrong, and then I would listen again. Just listen, not worry about answering, and then I would go, aha, okay, that's where it came. Okay, so do that at home for practice, okay? That's going to be my tip here. Again, so this is tip number 2. Okay, after you finish a listening part, check the incorrect or check your incorrect answers in the transcripts at the back of the book. Then listen to the same audio one more time so you can train your ears for hearing the right language. Okay, is that clear? So is everybody clear on that technique? So you listen, you answer, you mark, you check your incorrect answers in the transcripts, you go back, you listen again, and you go, aha, okay, that's where it was. That's where it was. All right? Okay. Hemant, as I was showing before, so Hemant's saying, can we please have a look at that? So for our book, again, this is coming from aehelp.com students, for academic students. For general students, it's gieltshelp.com. Listening is the same. Okay, and the transcripts for this are on page 115. So I'll jump to question 30. And the answers are indicated in bold. So here we go. All right, there you go, Hemant. And for everyone else. Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. In closing, I'm not sure how much progress we've made, but it's safe to say that we can all agree, there's your all agree, that zoos, at the very least, must do their best to improve the treatment of animals and the conditions in which the animals live. There's number 30. So A, to improve the conditions in which the animals live. Okay. All right, everyone. Now, let's go back to section 4. And we will do section 4 together. Again, I'm going to play the audio, and my volume is max on my end. I'm using my headset and a nice Bose speaker. So if it's quiet for you, use a headset, turn up the volume, and again, don't put your answers into the chat. Wait until the end. Don't confuse other students with wrong answers, especially. So just write it on a separate piece of paper or into a separate document. Is everybody ready to begin section 4? Yes, woohoo. All right, here we go. Section 4 is fast. There's no pause halfway. So keep going and answer all the questions. All right, everyone, here we go. Back to the website, CD4, track 4, because it's exam 4.
Battery 100%.
Okay, just double checking to make sure my volume is max. It is. All right, here we go.
Now turn to section 4. Take some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Listening, Section 4. You will hear a professor discussing the migration of loggerhead turtles. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
It's late April on the South Atlantic coast of North America, and one of the most remarkable journeys in all of nature is about to begin. The loggerhead turtle, whose natural habitat is the open ocean, has to seek dry land to lay its eggs. The sandy beaches of Florida provide a perfect nesting spot, with soft sand that can be dug up by the persistent flippers of the female loggerhead. Over the course of the next 3 months, hundreds of thousands of eggs will be laid on such beaches. Many of these eggs will become the victim of predators, but many will survive to hatching, which occurs 2 months after being laid. Hatching marks the beginning of an incredible journey for the loggerhead turtle. Almost immediately upon hatching, the young turtles, known as hatchlings at this point, head for the open ocean. The ocean, while full of its own dangers and predators, provides a relative safe haven for the hatchlings away from many of the predators that live near the shoreline. These young turtles embark upon a journey that will take them upwards of 13,000 kilometers around the North Atlantic. Many animals make large and incredible journeys, but what makes the loggerhead turtle's migration so notable is the speed at which the animal moves. While many bird species make similar journeys, they move at velocities much faster than the loggerhead turtle. This slow-moving beast travels at the remarkably sluggish pace of only 3/4 of a kilometre per hour. This means it will take the turtle a minimum of 17,000 hours to complete its migratory journey, not even taking into account stops for feeding and sleep. To put that number in perspective, 17,000 hours is approximately 2 years of non-stop swimming. That the loggerhead turtle makes this journey alone makes it all the more impressive. From birth to adolescence to adulthood, the loggerhead turtle is a solitary traveller. But how does it know where to go? Doesn't it need a parent to help it know the route? This is where the loggerhead becomes even more fascinating. Recent research tells us the loggerhead uses the magnetic field of the Earth to determine its migration route. Because the Earth's magnetic field differs in each location around the world, the loggerhead turtle can use it as a kind of innate roadmap, illuminating the way to where they need to be. One example of this is the behaviour they exhibit when they encounter the particular magnetic field off the coast of Portugal. Instead of continuing north towards the cold waters of northern Europe, they sense the magnetic field and turn around, instead heading for the warmer waters of northwestern Africa. And it is not just that the loggerhead turtle has a sort of innate compass. They are able to determine, with surprising precision, their latitude and longitude. They know exactly when to zig and zag to optimize their migratory pattern. Even with their incredible ability to know where they are and where they need to be, the survival rate of migratory loggerhead turtles is incredibly low. In fact, only about 1 in 4,000 hatchlings makes it back to the beach in eastern Florida to mate and lay its eggs. However, that any make it at all is an incredible achievement and one of the great natural wonders of navigation.
That is the end of Section 4. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
And again, students, check your answers. All right, that was pretty fast. But as long as you're following, you should be okay. Now, of course, you had a little bit of help here because I was moving with the answers. In the real IELTS, you have to pay attention to key words like sandy beaches, okay, to know where you are positioned in this flowchart type question. All right, let me just stop the audio here on the website. Get back to the questions. Okay, students, here we go. So the loggerhead turtle has to seek dry land to lay its eggs. The sandy beaches of, what's answer 31? Abhishek says it's Florida. Bunyad Nurmatov agrees. Okay, and Florida is correct. Of course, capital F, it's a name. So Florida. The F must be big to get that one correct, okay? So the sandy beaches of Florida provide the perfect location for nesting. Excellent. After hatching, the loggerhead turtle immediately heads for the ocean. The ocean is safer than the shore because it has fewer something. Now, this word was used at least twice by the speaker. And surrealists says it's predators. And predators is correct. Temir Khan, predator, is not correct. But Temir Khan says, oh, yeah, there's an S there. Yeah, you have to have a plural because it's fewer. Okay, fewer is always with plural, right? Okay, so predators. It's an A, it's an E. Predators. Okay, predators. All right, the turtles embark means to start moving on a journey that will take them something kilometers around the Atlantic. Now, kilometers here means that this is some kind of a number. For 33, please use the number. And the number, Hemant, flower, sun, and violet, Lapuch, 13,000 is correct. So 13,000 is your answer, okay? Florida, predators, 13,000. So far, so good. Let's continue on. Okay, practice pacing for part 4. Again, as you heard, it's faster. Use your logic. Don't give up. If you miss a question, then just let me get you back on screen here. My camera decided to take a snooze. I'm not sure why. It's okay. I'll get you back in a sec. Meanwhile, you can see my happy little daughter a few months after she was born. In part 4, again, just repeating myself, if you miss an answer, don't worry about it. Keep moving, because if you start stressing about missing one answer, you're going to miss other answers as well. Okay? So be really careful with that. All right. Here we go. Let's continue on. While long migratory journeys are fairly commonplace in nature, what makes the loggerhead's journey especially notable is the extremely something pace it travels at. Abhishek says, it's sluggish. Sluggish. Yeah, sluggish or slow. Sluggish or slow. All right. So, sluggish. Yeah. Sluggish being used as an adjective. This is a slug. Okay. That's a slug. Bonus question, students. If the slug has a house, let's go that way. If the slug has a house, what is it called? So this is a slug. And we can use it as an adjective to mean slow. You could use the word slow there as well. So slug, sluggish, slow. And what is this called? Yes, flower, sun. It's a snail. Okay. And sometimes we say snail for speed as well. So we'll say, oh, you're moving as fast as a snail. Okay, so snail, slug. Different words. Okay. Yeah, that's right, Elias. It's Gary. It's friends with SpongeBob. Okay. I couldn't resist Gary making an appearance in our IELTS listening lesson. Okay, students, let's keep going here. So sluggish, you got it, or slow. The last one was complete the summary. And again, you want to follow pace. You want to pay attention to key words like traveler and loggerhead, so words that are before and after the space. As incredible as the loggerhead turtle's journey is, what makes it even more impressive is that the loggerhead is a something traveler. What's the answer there? Abhishek says solitary. Yep, Hemant, it's not 2 years. It's still just solitary. Solitary. Solitary means alone. Okay? But of course, alone is an adverb, so we can't use that here. Solitary, the other way you could say it is solo. Okay, solitary traveler or solo traveler. Solitary was what was used. Seni, not solid, solitary. Solitary means to be alone. Okay, solitary is the adjective. So remember this word, students, adjective. And this needs an adjective because it's traveler. Traveler is a noun. Okay. All right. So maybe in some Disney movies you saw that all these turtles are swimming together, like in Finding Nemo, but they're not. Okay. All right. Irene says you missed 35. Let's check 35. Yeah. So the entire journey is equal to approximately something of continuous swimming with no breaks. And I think a lot of you wrote that. It's okay. So you said 2 years. 2 years of continuous swimming with no breaks. I think a lot of you got that. That was a little bit of an easier one. It was really emphasized. Students here, my tip is use a number, not the word. Okay, so 2 is correct, but it takes more time. So use the number. And you don't need to write years, but you can just go years. Okay, that's acceptable. All right, short form, as long as it's accurate. Okay, so 2 years. 35. Let's keep going. 37. Earths, again, keywords to listen for. Scientific research has, in recent years, told us it is through a connection with the Earth's something that the turtles find their way around the ocean. What is it? Kamola, congratulations. It's awesome that you got 7. Lepouge says magnetic field. That's right, magnetic field. 2 words. Magnetic field. Very good. All right. For example, the turtles are able to sense something off the coast of. So coast of, hopefully you realize that means the beach or the shoreline. So this has to be a location like Florida. It's not Florida in this case, but it's another country because the turtle has swam across the Atlantic. It is Portugal. That's right, Portugal. So off the coast of Portugal, capital P. If you write a small p, it will be incorrect. Okay, Bunyad, careful, big P. Okay, name of a country. In English, country names are proper nouns. They take capital letters. That makes them change their direction and head for Northwest Africa. Possessing more than a simple compass, the loggerhead can innately sense its something and longitude. And Derek says latitude. Lepouge and Abhishek agree. Latitude. For those of you who are not familiar with these words, here you have planet Earth. Okay. These lines that go this way, these are called latitude. And these lines that go that way are called longitude. Okay? So latitude, longitude. Okay? Good words to know, because if you're using a navigation system or you're lost in the forest, these words could save your life. Okay? Latitude, longitude. That's your position on the planet. All right. Sometimes we say vertical, horizontal. Okay. Latitude. Small letters is okay because these are Common nouns. All right. So last question here, students. It's kind of a sad one, but it's true and amazing at the same time. Question 40. Choose the correct letter A, B, or C. Approximately what percentage of hatchlings make it back to the breeding ground in Florida? 0.025%, 2.5%, or 25%? A, B, or C? It was simple math. The speaker says 1 in 4,000 make it back to Florida. That's A. Poor little guys. 3,999 of them don't make the journey all the way. Yeah, so 0.025%. Sometimes in IELTS you have to do a little bit of simple math. Puneet, you can use a small L for latitude, and you should, okay, because it's a common noun. So small L. All right, everyone, especially those of you who were in yesterday's class as well, what did you get from 40? So yesterday we did parts 1 and 2. Today we did parts 3 and 4. Let's see if you can add up all of your marks. See what you got. Abhishek says, got 32. Students, on our website, at the very, very bottom, I'm going to darken up the screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's make it night. There we go. At the very, very bottom on our website, both on aehelp.com and GIELTS, you can see this score calculator. That's a link. Those are all links, obviously, at the bottom of the website. And then you can enter your raw score and put in 32, and magical function of the computer will tell you that Abhishek got 7.5 on that. Kiran, 15 out of 40. 15 is 4.5. Let me make this a bit bigger. You can see that better. Okay. You're welcome. Okay. Yes, Puneet, it could be marked wrong if your L is capital and nothing else. All right. Seni got 32. That was 7.5. Let's see what other marks. Oh, and by the way, our app, so I showed you that this is our website, aehelp.com. You can also download our app, Academic IELTS Help, from your Google Play, Apple App Stores. That also has a score calculator. Okay. All right. Bunyad said I got 28. 28 is 6.5. Okay, it's not bad. Not bad at all. That's what a lot of people have for a target score. Trung Hyung, you're very, very welcome. Very welcome. All right, everyone. So that is it for this listening test. Wonderful job, everyone. Great participation. Again, make sure to check out our websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general. Use the code R4TYJ. You'll get a 20% discount. And you can get access to 6 full practice exams. Let me brighten this up for you so you can see that code and the websites. There we go. All right. Cool. Okay. So again, R4TYJ will get you that 20% discount. Thanks so much, everyone, for participating. Remember to practice these strategies. Practice makes perfect. Check the transcripts. Always listen, re-listen. Don't just keep listening to new exams, okay? So re-listen. It's very important. Everyone, stay safe, wash your hands, sleep well, keep your immune system strong. I wish you much love and good health from Budapest. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.